Good morning, everyone. Have you ever been in a heated argument where words only seem to make things worse? What if I told you that sometimes the most powerful way to win an argument isn't by shouting the loudest, but by mastering the art of silence? Today, I'm going to show you how to win an argument without saying a word. Key point one, master your body language. The way you present yourself speaks volumes, often louder than words. In any argument, your posture, facial expressions, and gestures can either strengthen your position or weaken it. Standing tall with an upright posture conveys confidence, making it clear that you are not intimidated or shaken. Keeping your shoulders relaxed and maintaining steady, purposeful movements can make you appear composed and self-assured, even if the other person is growing agitated. Eye contact is another powerful tool. When you hold eye contact calmly and steadily, you demonstrate attentiveness and confidence, which can make your opponent feel the weight of their words. If they avert their gaze or become flustered, they may subconsciously question their own position. However, it's important to strike a balance. Staring aggressively may come off as confrontational, while avoiding eye contact may signal weakness. Facial expressions also play a crucial role. A neutral or slightly inquisitive expression can make the other person second-guess their argument, as opposed to an aggressive or defensive face, which only fuels conflict. A subtle smirk or a raised eyebrow at the right moment can challenge their statements without you needing to say a word. Meanwhile, keeping your face calm and unreadable can leave them wondering what you're thinking, shifting the pressure onto them. Gestures should also be intentional. Open, controlled hand movements signal that you are relaxed and in control, whereas crossing your arms or fidgeting may suggest defensiveness or uncertainty. Even something as simple as tilting your head slightly can indicate skepticism, prompting the other person to rethink their stance. Similarly, slow, deliberate nodding can encourage them to keep speaking, which can sometimes lead them to contradict themselves or expose flaws in their reasoning. Lastly, your breathing and overall energy matter. Deep, steady breaths help you stay composed and prevent you from reacting impulsively. Quick, shallow breathing can betray nervousness, making the other person feel they are gaining the upper hand. By controlling your body language through posture, eye contact, facial expressions, and gestures, you establish silent dominance in any argument, making it clear that you are confident and unshaken, all without uttering a single word. Key point two, the power of active listening. Listening is often more powerful than speaking in an argument. When you allow the other person to talk without interrupting, you give them space to fully express their thoughts. This not only makes them feel heard, but also provides you with valuable insight into their reasoning, weaknesses, and emotional state. Many people argue reactively, speaking before they fully think through their points. By staying quiet and truly listening, you encourage them to elaborate, sometimes to the point of contradicting themselves or exposing gaps in their logic. Nonverbal cues play a significant role in active listening. A slow nod, a raised eyebrow, or even maintaining steady eye contact can signal engagement and make the other person more self-conscious about what they are saying. These subtle gestures can make them second-guess their words, forcing them to reflect on their position. When people feel truly listened to, they often lower their defensiveness, making it easier for them to consider alternative viewpoints without feeling attacked. Silence can be particularly effective when used strategically. Instead of immediately responding to a provocative statement, taking a moment to pause creates tension and forces the other person to sit with their own words. This pause can make them question whether they were too aggressive, too emotional, or even incorrect. Often people talk themselves into corners simply because they feel pressured to fill the silence. By remaining composed and giving them space, you let them unravel their own argument. Your facial expressions also contribute to how your silence influences the conversation. A neutral, calm face can make them feel the need to explain themselves further, while an inquisitive look can pressure them into justifying their stance more rigorously. When combined with controlled breathing and an open posture, these elements make you appear not only confident but also wise, someone who doesn't need to fight back with words because they already understand the bigger picture. By mastering the art of active listening, you turn the argument in your favor without having to say a word. The more you let the other person talk, the more they reveal not just about their argument, but about their emotions, insecurities, and possible doubt. Sometimes the most effective way to win an argument isn't by proving them wrong directly, but by allowing them to come to that realization on their own. Key point 3, use strategic silence. Silence is one of the most underestimated yet powerful tools in any argument. When used strategically, it can shift the balance of power without you having to say a single word. Most people expect an immediate response in a debate, especially if they make a strong or provocative statement. However, by pausing instead of reacting, you create a psychological effect that makes the other person feel the weight of their own words. This moment of silence can make them second-guess themselves, reconsider their stance, or even start explaining further, sometimes revealing contradictions or weaknesses in their own argument. Silence can also create discomfort, which often works in your favor. People are naturally inclined to fill empty space in a conversation. When you withhold a response, they may continue talking to justify their point, potentially leading them to expose flaws in their reasoning. This is especially effective if their argument is built on emotion rather than logic. The more they speak, the more likely they are to say something they didn't originally intend to, weakening their position without you having to challenge them outright. Another advantage of strategic silence is that it signals control. In an argument, the person who remains composed often holds the upper hand. Silence conveys patience and confidence, whereas someone who rushes to respond may appear defensive or desperate to prove a point. By choosing not to speak immediately, you show that you are in no hurry to defend yourself, which can make the other person feel uncertain about their stance. It also forces them to sit with their own statements, making them reflect on whether they truly believe what they are saying. Furthermore, silence can be used to create emphasis. If you make a simple but powerful nonverbal gesture, such as raising an eyebrow, tilting your head slightly, or even maintaining steady eye contact, your lack of verbal response can make the other person feel the need to keep talking. They may even start retracting or softening their argument simply because they are unsure of how you will react. This makes them more likely to reconsider their position or even acknowledge their mistakes. In some cases, silence is more persuasive than words because it removes the conflict dynamic. Instead of engaging in a back-and-forth exchange that escalates tension, silence allows the argument to simmer down. This can make the other person feel less attacked, opening the door for them to reflect rather than resist. In many instances, the argument loses its intensity, and the other person begins to question whether it's worth continuing. By mastering the art of strategic silence, you turn the argument in your favor without aggression or excessive effort. It allows you to maintain control, avoid unnecessary conflict, and ultimately lead the other person to a realization, one that they come to on their own without you needing to force it upon them. Key point 4, maintain emotional control. Emotional control is one of the most powerful ways to win an argument without saying a word. When emotions run high, most people tend to react impulsively, raising their voices, gesturing wildly, or allowing frustration to dictate their words. However, if you remain calm and composed, you automatically shift the dynamic of the argument in your favor. A person who does not react emotionally appears stronger, more rational, and more in control, which can make the other person question their own approach. One of the key aspects of emotional control is managing facial expressions. When someone is arguing passionately, they often expect a reaction, whether it's anger, frustration, or defensiveness. However, if you maintain a neutral or slightly thoughtful expression, you rob them of the emotional energy that fuels their argument. A calm face forces them to wonder if their words are having any effect at all, making them reconsider their approach. If they are arguing aggressively and you remain unshaken, they may begin to feel that their efforts are futile, leading them to back down or soften their stance. Another element of emotional control is body language. A person who is emotionally reactive often leans forward aggressively, tenses their shoulders, or moves erratically. By contrast, if you remain still, relaxed, and composed, it sends a clear message that you are unaffected. Slow, steady breathing can further enhance this effect, as it prevents any signs of nervousness from showing. Even small details like keeping your hands open and relaxed rather than clenched into fists or crossed defensively can communicate confidence without words. Silence also plays a crucial role in emotional control. If someone makes an inflammatory statement, they may expect an immediate rebuttal or reaction. Instead of responding right away, pausing can create discomfort for the other person. They may begin to question whether they have gone too far, or they might feel compelled to continue talking to fill the silence, which can lead them to contradict themselves or expose flaws in their argument. Strategic silence allows you to dictate the pace of the conversation, making the other person more likely to falter. Additionally, emotional control prevents arguments from escalating. When two people are emotionally reactive, the discussion can quickly turn into a shouting match where neither side is truly listening. However, if one person remains calm, it disrupts this cycle. The other person may start to feel self-conscious about their own outbursts, realizing that they are the only one losing composure. This can make them slow down, lower their tone, and even reconsider their stance. Lastly, remaining emotionally composed gives you the advantage of clarity. When emotions take over, people often say things they don't mean or argue points they haven't fully thought through. By staying calm, you maintain a clear mind, allowing you to observe, analyze, and control the situation. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can strategically use silence, body language, and patience to guide the argument in your favor. In the end, the person who stays in control emotionally is often seen as the stronger one. Without raising your voice or making a single argument, you can dismantle the other person's aggression simply by showing that their words have no effect on you. This subtle yet powerful approach allows you to win an argument without ever needing to say a word. In the end, winning an argument isn't always about proving the other person wrong with words. It's about maintaining control, influencing the situation, and allowing the other person to come to their own realizations. Through confident body language, active listening, strategic silence, and unwavering emotional control, you can shift the power of any discussion in your favor without ever needing to engage in a heated exchange. When you master these techniques, you no longer need to rely on words to make your point. Instead, your presence, patience, and composure do the work for you. Arguments often lose their intensity when met with calmness rather than conflict. And many times people reconsider their stance simply because they feel uncertain in the face of silent confidence. So the next time you find yourself in an argument, remember, the strongest response isn't always the loudest. Sometimes silence, composure, and control speak louder than words ever could. Thank you.